The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
All right, hello everybody. My name is Kai and I am here to present a webinar to you guys. We're going to be talking about how to create a talking avatar with CrazyTalk 8. So we're going to talk about easy creation. We're going to talk about, first of all, how to create a 2D head. I'm going to quickly run you through the process of that. And then we're also going to create a more detailed 3D head as well after that. So wherever you are in the world, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. And that's what we're going to talk about today. We're not going to spend any time today doing any presentation or PowerPoint because I want to focus right now on the meat and potatoes, how to create the technical aspects of creating your head and running through a couple of other things as well, such as modifying your picture and all sorts of fun stuff like that. Now, we will be sending out a survey at the end of this webinar. If you fill out the survey, you'll be granted a $10 gift certificate for the content store. So make sure you fill out the survey that we send you afterwards. And if you have any questions during this webinar, we will have a Q&A session at the end. We're going to spend about the last 10-15 minutes of this webinar answering questions for you guys. So if you have any questions related to CrazyTalk 8 or any other Reallusion products, you can feel free to ask me. I do know a bit about some things, I guess. So feel free to ask me there. And this will be recorded as well. So we'll have a recording of this webinar, and we will be sending out the link to you guys after the webinar. So if you miss some stuff, don't feel bad. A lot of people miss stuff, and I might be going a little bit fast for some people. So you can always review the video a bit later on. Okay, so I think that's about it. That's all the precursors to this webinar here. I'm going to run you through the steps that we're going to talk about in this webinar. First of all, we're going to create a 2D head. I'm going to show you how to do that. A couple of fitting tips and everything like that. Now, I'm aware that some of you may be brand new to CrazyTalk 8, and some of you may be intermediate or beginner users. So we're going to kind of focus around that sort of experience level. All right. So what I'm going to do now is we're going to talk a little bit about creating the 2D head, first of all. And I need to share my screen here, I guess. GoToWebinar doesn't automatically share your screen when you start the broadcast, which is kind of silly. Anyways, okay, so now you can probably see my screen, hopefully. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and start with the 2D stuff. You didn't miss anything on the screen, don't worry about it. Just basically what we have here. I was on the screen for the last 5 minutes. All right, so let's go ahead and start with creating a 2D head. So to create a head, all you need to do is go up here to create head in the where my mouse is right here. Okay, and then we're going to select a 2D actor to start off with. Now I'm going to go into iClone here first of all, just to kind of show you the end character that we're going to be creating. This guy right here, and you can see you can export your characters from CrazyTalk 8 into iClone, and this is the kind of character that we're going to create. You can see he's got the nice facial expressions and the 2D, the comic type of shading on his face and everything like that. Okay, so we're going to close that down for now. This is going to be our final destination as we go through this webinar. So loading up a 2D image for your face. I'm going to go to the webinars folder. We have a special image I've procured from the internet of Saul Goodman from the TV shows Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. You can see him right here, and we're just going to be using that image right there. So we're going to start off with this image, and generally what you want to do is you want to have your image facing directly forward. You want to have it at a 90-degree angle, so perpendicular to the edges of your image. And this one's a little bit tilted, and I'll show you why that matters in a moment as well. And when we modify the image in Photoshop to make it a bit more, a bit better for our purposes. So we're going to work with this for now. We're going to go to the next step, and this is where you just basically define the sections of your face, the outer edges of the eyes. Just follow the little description on the top left there. It tells you basically where to place all those control points, all the markers. So place them on the outsides of the eyes and on the outer corners of the mouth for this step. Fairly simple. And this section here is where you want to define the wireframe the areas, the facial features with wireframe. Now, as well, I want to mention as well that we're going to talk a little bit about animation as this webinar goes on. So after we do the facial fitting of the 2D and the 3D images, then we're going to be doing some animation because there's some people that wanted to learn more about the animation. We're going to talk about automotion and stuff like that. So stay tuned if you're interested in hearing about that stuff as well. All right, so here, just basically create a basic wireframe. You can stretch this up a little bit. I'm going to zoom in. You can scroll your mouse button to zoom in. I'm just going to place these eyebrows relatively where they should be. It doesn't have to be like super detailed. Just generally try to get the size correct. And these eyes right here. There's a more detailed step after this step that we're going to talk about in a moment, but this is all you have to do at this point. Again, they don't have to be perfect because we're going to take a look at the more detailed facial fitting process later on. And put these nose markers on the outer edges of the nostril, and the mouth can be just basically put these markers along the opening of the mouth. And we'll expand that head a little bit as well around the chin area. So this is the funnest part of creating your head, just doing the photo fitting or the marker fittings for your facial features there. It takes a little bit of time, but if you get used to it, you can do it in less than a couple of minutes generally. All right, so we're done with that. Now you can calibrate your facial fitting results right here by using these options on the left-hand side. We're not going to do that right now. I'm just going to go to the next step, and this is where you choose your face orientation. So for 2D images, or rather for 2D heads, that you're creating 2D heads, maybe your character's face is tilted a little bit to the side, and you can see if I click and drag this to the side, we get the shape of a nose, the outline of the nose and the forehead and everything like that. This character is facing fairly straightforward, so just keep it straightforward. And if your character has a long nose or a strong chin, you can use these options over here. You can see the various presets. There's convex, there's round faces, there's comic faces, long snouts, short snouts, and you can adjust the strength as well. So if I take this over to the side, increase the strength, you can see the result. I don't tend to mess around too much with this unless you're looking for a very stylized type of character. All right, so let's go ahead and press OK. Go to the next step here. And you can see here is our face right here. Now, what I want to do is actually go back into the head fitting right here. And you can also choose face orientation or any of these options up here. Right here, if I click this, we can go into facial orientation, and that's the step that I just was at. We'll go ahead and abandon all the changes that we made so far. And then there's the face key editor and the mask editing, background settings, adjust color up here. Now, these settings right here, the face fitting editor is the one that I want to go back into here. You can see here that we didn't go into too much detail on this, and now is where we want to go and choose this option right here, the detailed setting. So we are at the basic setting, and now you need to go into the detailed setting, which I forgot to go to before, but you can always go back in there and go to detailed. So I wanted to kind of show you that there. All right, so then you want to take your fitting points on the eyes, kind of just place them right around the eyeball, just to get a bit more detail. Otherwise, your character's eyes and facial features may be a little bit off. So just make sure that these are encircling your eyeball correctly. You want to make sure they're placed right along the edges of the eyeball there. There you go. And we're going to replace the eyeballs a little bit later anyway, so just make sure that these kind of define the areas where you want the new eyeballs to be placed on your character's face. And for the nose, what you can do is just select this middle marker here for the nose and bring it a little bit down. This middle marker is generally placed on the bulb of the nose, the very tip of the nose. All right, and these ones are placed on the sides of the nostrils in general. And this lip can be taken down a little bit as well. So we'll take this down like this, and you can see there's now an additional marker in there. And I think our lips are pretty much okay where they are. We're not going to mess around too much with that. And there we go. All right, and then there's more options around the head. Now you can see there's this one layer right here, there's this one line right here, and then this one line right here. This outer line is what surrounds your hair, your character's hair. So if I just move this out a little bit, we want this to encompass the hair. And so we can bring this one up like that, and this one. You can see this character doesn't have long hair, so we don't really need to worry about these markers on the side. We can just place them right about there. And there we go. For long-haired characters, you'd obviously want to bring that those markers to cover the long hair. And these interior markers right here, just place them around where you imagine the character's head and or head shape to be. All right, so just kind of try and get as much detail as possible, or as placed as specifically or as accurately as possible. And I think there we go. Okay, so really that's all there is to it. And then you can go and calibrate your different areas right here. Again, I won't do that at this point, but you can go ahead and do that when you have time. So we'll just go ahead and press OK, and we're going to apply those changes. So now what we have, if we press play, we have our 2D character. And you can see his head, slowly tilting around and whatnot. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to give him an animation. So we're going to go into motions over here, animation, and I'm just going to give him a voice script. So voice scripts in this folder here, voice scripts, they contain animation data as well as audio data. So your character will be talking and having facial expressions as well. So basically they're just the entire package. So I can, for example, choose this bragging one. And I need to turn my audio up here for you guys. Unfortunately, GoToWebinar doesn't broadcast the internal audio, so hopefully you can hear this.
So what? You can't touch me, because I'm from the internet.
Okay, and so basically we have this character with no teeth, and we have the default eyes. So if you go like to here, for example, you can see maybe right there, for example, what CrazyTalk 8 will do is it'll take the original eyes and it'll just kind of place those in the eye section right there. So if you want, obviously if you don't want those kind of weird reptile double eyelid type things, you're going to have to replace the eyes eventually with the CrazyTalk 8 embedded eyes. So let's go ahead and take a look at that first. So what we can do is go up here to eye settings, but I'm going to go first over to my actor elements on the left here, and in actor elements you can find the eye folder. And in the eye folder you'll have human, anime, comic, cartoon eyes. In this case I'm just going to choose these human eyes right here. Although our character is not super realistic, we can choose human eyes, and I'm going to choose something like this crystal blue eye right here. You can see it adds eyelashes and everything like that. It even adds shading onto the eyes. If I zoom in a little bit, you can see it a little bit better there. So these are fairly realistic looking eyes. If I go back to eyes and I go to cartoon, for example, we can choose cartoon type eyes like this. And that may be a bit more suitable for this character, although maybe we don't want it to be so bright. And once you have that, you can see we have those crazy looking eyelashes. And if you don't want those eyelashes, just go into eye settings up here. And in eye settings, what you can do is you can choose the eyelashes. Where are they here? There you go. Take off the eyelashes right here. So those eyelashes looked a little bit too exaggerated, so I'm just going to take them off. With 2D faces, you only have these options right here. You don't have as many eye options as you do with 3D faces. So keep that in mind. Now, what I'm going to do here is just you can choose something like the iris right here, which we have currently selected. And if I wanted to change the hue of the iris, I can do so. Change it to like a purple or a nice brown. You can decrease the brightness, increase the brightness, whatever you want. Right? You can see the results right there. Now you can also transform the eyes as well. If I wanted to, select the right eye only and maybe bring this right eye down or up, then I can, use this value right here. And you can see the position of the eye slightly changing. I can take the eye that's on the left, bring that one down a little bit as well, and try and get them aligned properly. So it's kind of maybe looking more at the camera. And you can also change their size as well. You can see the size of that one going down, or I can take it up. So a lot of options with the eyes. We're not going to spend too much time on this in this section of the live demo. So we're just going to go ahead and close down the eyes for now. And then we have those nice brown eyes. They look a lot better than the previous eyes that we had. And if we move them around, you can see that now he doesn't have those double eyelids anymore. Okay? So let's go ahead and give him some teeth. So what we can do for teeth is just go over here to teeth settings, and it'll open up the teeth panel on the right under actor elements, and you can load in like any sort of teeth that you want. For this kind of character, I'd like to use maybe like the cartoon comic teeth or something like this, but you may want to use realistic teeth as well. I tend to think this kind of teeth set looks pretty good, and you can rotate it as well if it's because obviously his face is rotated at about, I'd say, a 10-degree angle. You want to rotate the teeth slightly as well. So we'll rotate them about this way, like that, and that should be okay. We can scale them up a little bit as well, just like that. And I think we're pretty happy with that. Okay, so then we have this with this character. Oop. I guess he lost his animation there. Anyways, we can go ahead and apply that again. Go to motions right here. Not sure where our audio went there. Anyways, that's basically it right there. And you can see that the eyeball no longer a problem. Okay, now he just kind of looks crazy. And we have those teeth in there and everything. All right, so that's about it for the 2D head. Now what I'm going to do is talk a little bit about how we can use the create a 3D head, and we're going to kind of customize our original image. So what I'm going to do is just go into my folder with the original image right here. You can see this is the one right here. I'm going to load it up in Photoshop, because there's a couple things that I can do with this image to make it a little bit better. And this image over here is actually what we want to end up with, something like this. I know it looks strange at this point, but when you map it to a 3D head, it actually looks okay, because CrazyTalk 8 creates some artificial, it blends artificially into the sides, the regular texture for the character's face. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to select my quick selection tool. I'm going to select the head of my character. We can probably use the magic wand tool. There you go. Maybe we can just choose, should work just fine. Let's try something else. There you go. Okay, I'm going to select the entire character's face. Just click and drag. It should work there. Okay, now I don't need to select the hair or the eyes or anything like that. I do need to have basically all the texture in the middle. I do need to select the eyes actually, and only the face. So basically this is all we really need to select in this entire image. You can see the little dancing ants outline that I have. So I'm just going to press Control-C. We can create a new image here, and Control-V. Now this one is fairly small. It's only about 400 pixels by 400 pixels, and that's extremely small for this type of situation. So I generally recommend trying to find an image that's a higher resolution. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to press Control-A, Control-T, and I'm going to rotate it slightly. So now it's at a 90-degree angle like this. Okay, so straight up and down, which is what we want to look for. And then I'll just press Enter. Then we can press Control-D to deselect. Now the next thing I want to do, the next step I want to take here is I want to fill in the skin area around his face. Now to do that, I can just use a brush. I'm going to choose a regular brush, not one of these crazy brushes that I'm using, and something like this. And you can just hold the Alt key and click anywhere on your image. Now if you don't have Photoshop, you can use something like GIMP as well to do this. GIMP is a free program you can find on the internet. It does the same thing as Photoshop pretty much. It may be a little bit slower, but I'd highly recommend using it anyways. So I'm just going to fill all this stuff in. We don't have to worry about it. We're just using the toon shading basically, so something like that, and this area here we'll fill in the top. You can see with toon shading you have this shade right here, And then you have this medium shade right there, and then a darker shade at the end. So I'm just going to basically use these tools here. You can, of course, use the bracket keys to resize your brush. And then I'll just use this last shade right here to kind of create our final shading around the side. And then we get something like this. All right, we can just, fill the rest of it in. No worries. Doesn't have to be beautiful or anything. I'm just doing a really crappy job. I'm pretty poor at Photoshop, to be honest with you. But this is essentially what we want to get in the end. So let's just do this. All right. So this is our image that we're going to be using. So I'm just going to go ahead and save this out. File, save as, and we'll save it as a JPEG to our desktop. We'll just call it test face and save that out. So we can go ahead and close down Photoshop now. Nope. And then let's go ahead and create a new face. This time we're going to choose 3D actor type as opposed to 2D actor type. And this one, basically all I want to do is import in the front image that I just created, and that's saved on my desktop. Test face right here. Okay, so this is really all we're going to use. I'll go to the next step, and here's the same thing. We're going to just quickly add in all those feature points. And I'll just expand this so you guys can see a little bit better. And here's where you want to just place according to the reference image on your left. And I'm not going to spend too much time on this because it's pretty self-explanatory. If you guys have any questions, you can always just ask me in the questions section at the end, Q&A session. This one is placed right on the bulb of the nose, and then side of the lips, middle of the lips, and other side of the lips. Now this one may confuse a little bit a few people. This one you essentially want to place it at the area of the cheek that's kind of sticking out the most. I tend to kind of follow the curve of the ear. The curve of the ear, if the ear goes down like this, you'll place that right at the base of where the top part of the ear attaches to your head. Since we don't have an ear in this case, we'll just have to kind of estimate our best look right here. So a little bit below the eyes, maybe somewhere over here, and we'll just use that right there, okay? And then right here, and on the chin. So basically all CrazyTalk is doing is it's just taking these the material from this image. It doesn't matter if he looks like a blob. We can just take all the material from this image, and that's essentially what we're using. And just try and get it so it looks fairly symmetrical on both sides. And here we can place the head right about up there. Okay, and that's the basic fitting points right there. Go to the next step. And what we should have is a 3D head created. All right, so from that blob of image, we created this nice 3D head. And you can see what CrazyTalk 8 has done is it's blended in some artificially generated texture into the skin on the side of the face. And so it looks really nice and it looks really smooth. So it's kind of taken the color from the front of the face and kind of blended it in from the side. Now this step here is where you select your 3D face profile. You can choose, Caucasian, right here, African, depending on, what kind of character you have and everything like that. I'll just choose Caucasian. It's not always the best for Caucasian, but I tend to choose it for characters with big noses, I guess. So then we'll go to the next step. That's all you really need to do. There's also female profiles there as well. All right, and here's the fun part again. We just got to place the markers where they're supposed to be. I'm going to run through this pretty quick. We don't want to spend too much time on it. You guys are already pretty familiar with this process, hopefully. Place these markers right along the edges of the eyeball. Make sure all the white section is covered within the markers. So the eyeball is all covered within the markers there. And again, where you place these markers really matters towards the end shape of your eye. So again, make sure everything is, all the white area of your eye is encompassed by these markers. Okay, and we'll go to the nose. Now the nose can be a little bit tricky for some people, and especially with this kind of character, he has a crooked nose too. The tips I tend to use for the nose is, what you want to do is place this bulb, this middle section that's highlighted right now, this yellow section that's highlighted, place that kind of around the front bulb of the nose. So you can see obviously the nostrils need to be expanded here. Excuse me, so I'm going to take the nostrils here, expand those out, just so this shaded area is covering the black outline of the nostrils, just like that. Okay, we can bring this area up again, and maybe this area can be stretched out a little bit as well. I'll bring this one down. Now, the nostrils, these three markers need to be encircling the nostrils here, so you need to get something like this going on. Maybe bring this up a little bit as well. And this character is a bit tricky because his nose is a little bit off. But generally the good practice is to place these three markers kind of encircling the nostril. If we take this up, we can probably actually bring this down a little bit because I want that black section to be right on the edge of the nose. So I'm going to have to take the entire nose down actually. There we go. And just, follow that procedure right there. And then I need to reposition the nostrils. The important part is to get these nostrils kind of or these markers encircling your nostril, so you don't have any black stuff on the outside of the front part of the nose there, rather. And we'll just go like that. Sometimes you don't really have to worry about what the image looks like or what the markers look like on the left. You just have to kind of follow what you see on the right. And, that's looking fairly decent. Maybe this part can go down a little bit as well. All right, I'm just going to work with that. We're not going to spend too much time on the nose. I think for some reason the silly old nostril line got messed up there. Anyways, okay, we're just going to work with that for now. And go to the mouth section and follow these points right here. Really simple. There we go. And into the face. Now the face section, you can have a little bit of fun here. You can kind of expand certain areas of the head. If you take these ears, for example, click and drag the yellow area, you can move them out, give them like big monkey ears if you'd like, or bring those in. You can stretch them out like this to give him like elf ears. But generally what I like to do is just kind of keep this the way it is. And we're not going to mess around too much with it. And go to the all section. This is your last chance to modify any of the markers that you want to place on your character. And then we want to go next is to side fitting. Side fitting, it'll just kind of automatically generate. I don't worry too much about side fitting for the most part. The nose, you can see it's placed nicely around the nose. If you want to modify this slightly, you can do so. You can see the result on the right-hand side there. Mouth, again, pretty straightforward. This can take down the size of the lips. This marker right here, if you want to bring that lip in a little bit. There you go. So it doesn't look so extruded. And the entire face. Just make sure everything is fairly decent here. One interesting thing you can do in the side view here is you can select the head and you can kind of give it a concave or a convex look here. Just maybe have the head rounded like this would be the best option, I think. And then that's pretty much it. Now the important part here is texture blending for 3D heads. So what I want to do here is there's 3 different blend types. Now if you just have a front-facing image like this, you want to make sure you choose blend type 1, because you can see on the thumbnail that contains the most gray area, I guess, right? So the gray outline of the face. The only original texture you're using is the little white section on the front of the face. Now take a look. If I move this guy about 45 degrees and I choose this option right here, you can see that there's a little bit of difference in the shading on the face. It's using more of the original texture. And if we do this one, it's using even more of that original texture. So because we did such a decent job, well, you can see on this side it's a little bit sketchy. This side right here looks good. This side here might be a little bit off. So maybe you want to kind of use the original amount of blending right here. Again, really depends on the image that you use. All right, I think we can, run with this one right here, the first level. All right, so now what we want to do is we want to go to, you can choose skin size, skin roughness. If you zoom in on the character, I'm just going to decrease the pore size because we want this guy to look fairly flat. We don't want him to have, too much texture on his face. Something like that would be okay. Okay? We don't want to focus too much on that texture. All right, and then detailed morph. Now, detailed morph is where you can have fun, morphing the various features of your character's face. You can make him fat and heavy like that. These are the ones I recommend just using because they're super simple. You don't have to mess around too much. You can make the face narrow. You can make him look younger and older as well. I like the young slider. You can make him, young and heavy or thin and old. You can see the differences on the face right there. So it modifies a number of different facial features. Now we'll just kind of stick with the original for now. And, forehead, all this other stuff, nose. You can make the nose protrude a bit more, I think. Give him like a hawk nose if we'd like. But anyways, these values are all stuff you can modify when you have a chance. We're not going to spend too much time on it in this webinar since you can kind of mess around on your own time. All right, so that's about it. All this fun stuff you can choose to modify. We're just going to go ahead and select apply. And that's going to apply our character. We don't need to save our project, the current one we have. No. All right, so it should replace our 2D head with 3D head. All right, so here we go. We have this 3D head now. And the first thing I'm going to do is go to eye settings and replace the eyes. So you can see with the 3D heads, the eye settings look a little bit different. Now if I go into human eyes here, for example, and I choose, I think he has like blue eyes, like this. Now notice that the eyes look slightly different. What we can do is we can select, different sections of the eye right here. So if I select the eyeballs white, you can see it's loaded in a diffuse map right there. We can change the brightness of each individual layer. So I can, bring less shadow on the eyes just by adjusting the eye white section. And then we can separately select the iris here as well. And there's a separate map for the iris. So with 8.1, CrazyTalk 8.1, you're able to modify all of these sections of the eye separately, which is, super useful. We couldn't do that in 8.0, unfortunately, but now we've updated it so we can adjust all of these areas separately. One thing I like to do as well is to select the eye shadow area, and you can kind of take the brightness down on the diffuse map, and you can kind of add a little bit of depth that way as well. You can notice there if I bring that brightness up or if I bring that brightness down, the nice results right there. This is one thing I tend to always do is take the eye shadow area down so we get a bit more depth in the eyes. And then I'll probably take his left eye here and maybe move that a little bit. Which eye are we moving here? Oh, that's the, okay, so I'm moving the shadow of the eye. I'm not moving the actual eye itself. All right, so need to make sure we select the eye itself. And we can, move those around. There we go. All right, and I'm moving both of them at the same time. I think they're okay the way they are now, though. So we'll just go ahead and keep it that way. I think these eyes can be considered a success. And then we'll go ahead and close down that. And add the teeth in as well, like we did before. So it's teeth settings, and you can see it's automatically generated some 3D teeth for him. If we want to be more cartoonish, we can do so. Choose the comic teeth. I like these ones right here. They're a bit brighter, and then of course you can brighten the teeth as well if you want to give him some really bright, shiny teeth. Feel free to do that. And brighten up the top teeth as well. Too bright looks a little bit unnatural though, but it's according to your own preference. Okay, so let's go ahead and dress this guy up. Let's go to actor elements over here on the side. And now we can choose clothing for the body. We can also give him some hair on his head. So let's go to head right here. And it should be loading some hair momentarily here. It seems to be frozen. Oh, okay, my folder's gone. All right, I'll have to just choose something else. We'll go to actor elements and let's see if we have any clothing there. All right, at least we have clothing. We can add the hair in iClone later on. So let's go ahead and just give him like a nice blazer right here. Or we can also go into one of the content packs, the Dress Showtime pack that I've previously downloaded from the content store. And there's stuff like this male suit A or male suit C, maybe something like this suit. And then you have the option to choose body shape, import texture, or cloth. I'll just choose cloth at this point here. And then we have that nice looking, looks like a kind of a lawyer suit, or maybe something that kind of looks like Lex Luthor right now at this point, actually. And then you can go to actor elements, accessories, and maybe accessories for the body. And I believe we have ties somewhere here as well under party fun, perhaps. And give him a nice, let's give him a nice bow tie. All right, there he's dressed for a party. All right, so that's basically how to create the 3D head. Now let's talk a little bit about animation for the next few minutes here. So the next section we're going to get into is animation, because I don't believe we can actually add any hair to our character. Oh, okay, there we have the hair. All right, sorry about that. Let's just choose, there's a slick lawyer hair in here somewhere in the party fun pack. There you go, the pompadour. Or we could just leave him looking like Lex Luthor. It's really up to you. But I like this pompadour hair anyways. Okay, so now that we have some hair on our character, let's go ahead and do some animation. So animation stuff can be found in the animation tab. There's auto motions, there's idle motions, practice audio, motion clips, and voice scripts. Now each of these are a little bit different. Auto motions are basically used after you already have some animation or already have some audio applied to your character. Idle motions, pretty self-explanatory, just when your character is idling. If you don't go into motion clips here, you can see motion clips are just, various motion clips, fairly straightforward, but fairly simple. They're not going to do much except for just apply a motion to your character. So for example, if I choose this silly smile, he'll have a silly smile and do this nodding motion like that. I'll press F3 and go into the timeline, and you can see it adds a motion clip called Silly Smile in the motion clip track, and we can just delete that if we don't want it. Okay, so get rid of all the animation, and this will be the regular idle animation for our Saul Goodman, the character right here. So that's the motion clips. They're fairly simple, fairly straightforward. Practice audio is just a number of different audio clips that are included with CrazyTalk 8. You can record your own audio, you can use text-to-speech and all that stuff, but you can also use the practice audio as well. You saw previously the voice script that I showed before, this bragging voice script. Not sure what happened to my audio, unfortunately. Not sure where all the audio is going, but anyways, you'll have to kind of imagine his voice at this point, I guess. The audio just kind of cut out for some reason. So that's the voice script right there, and he does have audio, believe you me. But if you don't want that, you can press F3 and go into the timeline. You can customize the same thing as well. So you can just delete that voice script right there, and then we just have an idle, default idle. And if we apply something like the practice audio, this is the same bragging, and we can choose talk mode. So if we select an audio clip, we can choose him to have him listening to that audio or talking with that audio or only lip sync. So talk mode will actually add a little bit of animation into it. So a little bit of auto motion there, a little bit of movement. Now, don't worry too much about that, because what you can do is you can go into auto motion, and auto motions are, for example, I'm going to choose scenario here, and there's different talking scenarios for auto motion. So if we already have an audio clip applied or a text-to-speech applied or anything like that, we can choose one of these auto motions, and you can see the expressions of the character will change, and it'll add some more personality. So if I choose something like the bragging one, notice that he's saying, "Ha, so what? I'm from the internet. You can't touch me. I'm from the internet." Okay, that's what he's actually saying. You can see his appearance looks fairly arrogant. Now we can choose something like the kid talking, and notice that it's a bit more bouncy and energetic there. So basically those auto motions just apply kind of personality after you've applied your audio to your character and the lip syncing and everything like that. you can use these auto motions to, create some sort of emotion or personality to your character. And we have other tutorials that go into more detail on that, so I'm not going to worry too much about, talking about automotion. But one cool thing about automotion is you can actually use it to have your character dance as well. Now, if I choose like an audio clip, again, I'm having trouble with the audio here, but if I go to practice audio and choose something like a beat step, and then we choose listen mode, you can see there'll be like a beat. It's supposed to be a beat anyways, and our character will be listening to that beat. And if you choose like auto motion, you can go up here to auto motion settings as well, and you don't have to choose any of these auto motions. You can just choose auto motion settings, and it'll be kind of difficult to hear without the beat, but we can choose different parts of the character to kind of auto motion to move individually. So if I go to parts, for example, and I choose like the there's head move, body move and body rotate, head move and head rotate. If I select head rotate, for example, and I go change my up value to 100, you can see my character will start moving his head up and down, and then left and right. We can do that, and we can have it swing like this as well. Now, this is a little bit extreme. If you want to add a bit more of you can see it kind of looks jerky right now. If you want to prevent that, what you can do is go to global and add some spring effects to that. So maybe spring. Oh, okay. The audio just decided to randomly kick in there. So, okay, so now you can see the character kind of just springing, and we can change something like we have his eyebrows. You can have his eyebrows lower and raise with the beat as well. You can have his eyeballs go back. So one of the eyeballs goes back, the other one goes up. So you can see his eyeballs and eyebrows both going up with a beat. We can even do something like the jaw. You can have his mouth open and close along with the music, or have his jaw move to the right and left. And basically you can, create all sorts of silly dances just by modifying each of these parts individually. If I go to global, if you increase the sampling rate, you'll get a stronger effect. You can increase the strength as well. Okay, so just like looks like he's doing a crazy dance or something like that. So if we stop the preview, you can go ahead and just apply that, and that'll apply that auto motion to that entire dance. Okay, so it looks like he's having a lot of fun just kind of going all that crazy dance, doing all those crazy dances. So hopefully the audio will work for this voice script bragging now.
Ha! So what?
Okay, there you go.
You can't touch me, because I'm from the internet.
Some sort of weird gremlin in my computer. The audio decided to start working randomly there. All right, so that's what we had originally. But what we're going to talk about now is the last thing is some first facial animation using the facial puppet tool as well. Now if I press F3 and go into the timeline, I can just delete that bragging script that I just applied, and now we just have a regular idle. You can also, I'm going to zoom in on my character's face here, you can also use the facial puppet tool here as well. Now there's a number of different facial profiles that you can choose from. There's general, smiley, angry, sad, happy, and scared. Now notice that each one of these corresponds with Q, W, E, R, T, and Y, the hotkeys. So if I preview, I can just press space to preview actually. This is the general look right here. And if I press W, it'll change to happy. And you can see now our character looks happy. And then E, he's looking angry. R, there's a sad look. T is smiley. And then Y is the worried look, like that. Okay, so that's how you can kind of create animation using the facial puppet tool. Now, if I wanted to, say, for example, layer the facial puppet tool over top of my audio, I can just choose something like, I'm going to import an audio script here, choosing this button right here, create script. I'm going to choose audio file, and I have this Saul Goodman audio file prepared already. We're going to choose talk mode here.
Hi, I'm Saul Goodman, and in times of need, you need a lawyer you can trust.
Okay, so if we wanted to layer on top of that, for example, our facial puppet animation, if I press F3 and go into the timeline, you can see it created an auto motion track right there. We can layer on top of that. I'm going to go into my facial puppet tool and say, for example, at the first part, we'll have him just smiley. So it's QWERTY. Maybe at the end we can have him happy. So we can choose smiley W and then happy T. So let's just go ahead and press record.
Hi, I'm Saul Goodman, and in times of need, you need a lawyer you can trust.
Okay, and then you have that smiley look right there. Then we can go to like R, which is sad, and then E, angry. And then we have a puppet clip that appears in the motion clip track. And if we play it back, you can see that we created a smiley, happy to smiley.
Hi, I'm Saul Goodman, and in times of need, you need a lawyer you can trust.
Gives us that flashy lawyer grin, and then maybe he realizes, I'm a lawyer, I'm sad now, and then angry. The 7 steps of whatever. Anyways, so that's how you can kind of just layer the puppet clip on top of the automotion and any audio files that you may have. Now, finally, we're going to talk about exporting this to Character Creator and iClone. So if you want to export your head, you can just go to Export and select RL Head. Now, this allows you to export an RL head. Okay, you can choose the eye, whichever eye texture you want to be stored. Doesn't really matter. We'll just go ahead and select right eye and apply. That's new with 8.1 as well. And what I'm going to do is just call it test head. Okay, I'm being totally unoriginal today. And load up Character Creator. So for those of you unfamiliar with Character Creator, it comes free with iClone when you purchase iClone. In addition, I should mention as well that if you're wondering, because I know that some of you are always wondering about, what sort of stuff you can do with CrazyTalk Standard, what sort of stuff you can do with CrazyTalk Pro and everything like that. What I always do is just go to CrazyTalk, Google CrazyTalk 8 version comparison. That'll take you to the regular page. And then basically under system requirements, there's a comparison table right here. So if you're wondering, what can my standard version do? What can my pro version do? Everything like that. And you can find the answers right here. So with the standard version, you can't custom photo fit the 3D character. So the 3D character that I did, you can't do that with the standard version. You can only do that with the pro version. Okay, so keep that in mind. And standard can also not do double images. So standard's just basically kind of for, fooling around, with family and friends and just creating sort of, fun images to send to your friends and everything like that. It's fun videos and whatnot. For more professional users, they tend to use the pro version. And now pro version, what I'm doing here, pro version cannot export the face to iClone as well. The export to iClone is a pipeline feature. So what I'm doing right now is a pipeline only feature. Everything else is pretty much the same with pro and pipeline. But you can see standard, there's a couple things that you can't do in standard as far as facial animation as well, so keep that in mind. Now, so what I can do is I have that RL head exported. I'm just going to load up a project file. Let's choose a professional outfit pack that comes with Character Creator. Or sorry, rather, you need to purchase this professional outfit pack separately. There are a number of projects that come embedded with Character Creator. But I'm just going to load this guy in with a suit. And then what we'll do is we'll load in that RL head that we saved out to the desktop. So let's just take a minute to load up this new project. And then we'll have a suave looking guy like this with a suit. And what I want to do is just bring in that RL head. Where is it here? Oh, test head. Okay, so click and drag that into Character Creator. And then there's a few options here. You want to choose head and body because you want if you only import the head, it may be incompatible with the body texture. So you may have like a problem matching those two textures. So always choose head and body if you want the body texture to match the head texture, okay? And then we'll press OK. We can give this guy a nice looking hairstyle after he imports in, and then we can show him off in iClone as well. Now these characters, this type of character is very similar to the, if I just Google, let's see here, Gary Pie, what are they called again? Or we can just go to the content store here. We have Gary Pie stylized human heads. I forget what the pack is called here. Oh, it's not even on there anymore. All right, we'll look that up later. Anyway, so here's our dude that's imported into Character Creator, and you can see the nice shading and everything on the face. Now you can just import that into iClone. You can modify all sorts of different values here, but if you want to import that into iClone, you just go over here to export send character to iClone, and I don't have iClone loaded up here, but we can save this project, this nice looking guy. Again, it won't export the clothing from CrazyTalk 8, so you need to make sure that you only have you're only able to export the head from CrazyTalk 8 to Character Creator. We'll close down CrazyTalk 8 right now just to save some resources, and I believe it is loading up iClone right now. So let's search for that Gary Pie heads iClone. Maybe that'll do it. Google is your friend. Here we go. Okay. So Gary Pie's comic faces. So you can see basically these are all taken from illustrations similar to what I just did. I just took that illustration, kind of ripped it off the internet there, and we had an original drawing similar to this. And this is the CrazyTalk 8 render, and then iClone 6 you get some more detailed shading and stuff like that. So if you're an artist, a 2D artist, you can just create simple images like this and fit them to 3D heads and then bring them into a 3D tool like this. And I'll show you this guy in iClone. Let's press J to focus on his face, and we can press the / key to rotate the lighting, and you can see the nice looking results of this character's face. All right, and same tools are available in iClone as well as CrazyTalk 8, face puppet tool that I showed you previously. Just choose like something like a more severe expression right here. So very sad look. This slacker profile is fairly exaggerated, as you can see. Almost looks like the Joker or something like that, and very scared. All right, so that's how your character will look like in iClone, and you can go and add all sorts of fun stuff onto the character's face texture in iClone if you want. But that's pretty much all I'm going to talk about in this webinar. So if you guys have any questions, make sure you put them in the questions panel. I'm going to go through the questions right now for our Q&A session. Sorry about the audio situation earlier. I'm not sure what happened. It just kind of decided to randomly start working. But anyways, let's go ahead and start with the questions. So I'm going to get to the question section right now. Looks like we already have a bunch of questions here. Someone commented the audio is cutting in and out. Yeah, I believe that was, I'm not sure what that was. It was a gremlin in my computer. But as you guys saw live, it just kind of started working for no reason. Okay, so one question from Wallace asks, how to use AutoMotion library from CrazyTalk 7 in CrazyTalk 8 pipeline? Well, the AutoMotion library from CrazyTalk 8 or 7 and 8 is essentially the same thing. We do have all the same automotions embedded. I do believe there is a separate AutoMotion pack that you can find, that you can purchase. Now, I'm not entirely familiar with that pack. It's been quite a while, but it should be backwards compatible. So if you have any, AutoMotion pack that you purchased for CrazyTalk 7, it should be able to be used with CrazyTalk 8 as well. So Brett asks, I would love to learn about what to do. Lack of hair options for a 3D character. Brett, if you're talking about creating custom hair, we do have a white paper that we can provide for you on how to create custom hair in programs like Blender or Max or Maya. That's for iClone, unfortunately, but in the future we will have cross-compatibility, so you will be able to import that to your CrazyTalk 8 characters. So right now all the customized stuff is available for iClone, But since we've just really started selling that sort of stuff for CrazyTalk, we don't really have the that stuff available, the developer pipeline available for CrazyTalk 8 at the moment. But like you just saw, we are able to save out RL heads, and those are compatible between CrazyTalk 8, iClone. You can import them back and forth, right? So the RL head format is universal, but unfortunately right now, the accessories and everything can only go from or rather CrazyTalk to iClone. The characters can only go from CrazyTalk to iClone. However, with 8.1, we do have the ability to take accessories into CrazyTalk 8.1 as well. So if, for example, I'm going to show you this actually, because we do have some tutorials that just were released recently about this. So if I load up my project in CrazyTalk 8, you can also import in accessories from iClone into CrazyTalk 8 as well. So let's take this Sol project that I had previously saved here. All right, so we have this Sol with like slightly different eyes. But if I go into iClone here and I go to actor, avatar, and into accessories, you know, let's find something like Toon Maker accessory. Maybe this beard, for example. We can give him a nice curly mustache in iClone by clicking and dragging, and obviously we want to place this in the correct position and use the R hotkey just to scale it down. Oops, this is one of those beards. We have to go in here, and then scale it down. There we go. All right, if you're not sure about what I just did there, no worries. You can email me at kai@reallusion.com, and I'll kind of show you how to do this stuff. So there's our mustache. We can take that same mustache, let's try a different one, into CrazyTalk 8. So this is an iClone accessory. It's saved as an iAccessory. If I click and drag it into CrazyTalk, I can also apply it to my CrazyTalk character. And we want to attach it to the face right there, and we want to scale it down. Obviously move it a little bit further back on the y-axis here. If I just use the key there, my up and down keys, we can scale it, move it down, go to scale, and scale it a little bit smaller. Oh, and you can see that's the problem that, okay, we're just going to keep it this size for now. So he has an extremely large mustache because these type of accessories, whoops, okay, there we go. These type of accessories have a bunch of dummies in them that are used for, other purposes. So in iClone, we had to go into the hierarchy of this item here to scale it down. Don't worry about that. It gets pretty complicated, but we'll get to that. If you guys have any more questions about it, feel free to ask me. Need to get on to the next question here, though. Okay, so Marta asks, are we supposed to receive the recorded session in an email? Yes, we will be sending you a link for the recorded session, so don't worry about that. And if you have any feedback, make sure you fill out the survey for us as well, and you get that $10 gift certificate from the content store. So you will receive an email, Marta. If you don't, email me directly, kai@reallusion.com, and I'll make sure you get that. So Brett asks as well, how do you make your 3D character blink during animation? Well, there's automatic blinking for the characters, actually. You don't have to worry about the blinking. Now, if you want to make your character blink, manually, you can do that in the facial puppet tool. Like if I go to facial puppet right here, and I preview, if I click my mouse button, when you click, it'll make your character blink, okay? So you can do like that. It's probably too laggy for you to see that, but he's kind of flickering his eyes at us, or fluttering his eyelids at us. But yeah, facial puppet, you click the mouse button to make your character blink. All right, so pretty simple. And one question here about how to import in your own custom background. The backgrounds, I believe, I don't use CrazyTalk 8 too often for backgrounds, but I think you go up here to create atmosphere settings and activate image. You can double click this image and you can have his test face as the background right there. So that's how you import in a specialized background. Again, go to create atmosphere settings and then just double click on this. You can tile it as well if you want. Not sure if I need to apply that. Oh, there we go. Okay, so, if you wanted a really weird looking background like this guy's face, you can do so. Let's try and find something a bit better. I don't think I have too much stuff on my computer here. Nope, I don't have too many cool backgrounds on this computer, unfortunately. Here we go. We'll use this really ugly looking cloth right there. Okay, so that's how you add backgrounds anyways. All right, so let's see. Jim also asked about how to enter a background image. So Jim, hopefully that answered your question about how to enter a background image, administrator settings. I'm going to change this because it's hurting my eyes. I changed it to an asphalt anyways. Okay, a little bit better. Okay, so next step. We have a question from Sean. The problem I frequently face is when using CrazyTalk 8, the skin tone of the head does not match the body after exporting head and body to iClone 6. So if you have that problem where you have exported your character to iClone, let's just use this character as an example. His head and body match fairly well as far as I'm concerned on this character. But if you do come across that, for example, you can go to your character's materials and you can choose there is a CC body and a CC skin head. So this is the body, this is the head. If I wanted to change the head texture in iClone, something a little bit darker, I can do so by adjusting the brightness here. And so this might be what you're talking about right here when you import in the head. You can see there's a clear line and the difference between the head texture and the body texture. So if you ever get that, just select the individual sections and adjust those, the brightness, the contrast, the hue, whatever value you have to adjust to get rid of that. So if I change this brightness to like, -10, we can give this guy a little bit of a 10, and then we have to go to the body section, skin underscore body, change that brightness down to -10 as well. Right, and there we've gotten rid of that annoying little border there. All right, so now Saul looks like he's been in Mexico for a few days. All right, hopefully that answered that question. Question from Annette. Oh, a few more questions than I'm anticipated here. So can you do a 3D head animation with a dog or a cat head? Yeah, you can definitely do animation with a dog or a cat head. I'll show you really quickly. We have these cool avatars that are from our developer Tokamotion. I believe these are available for direct purchase into CrazyTalk 8 as well at the moment. So we have like these stylized animals. So you can take this eye avatar. This is Sammy the cat. I'm going to click and drag this eye avatar directly into CrazyTalk 8. So again, this is an eye avatar from iClone that I'm importing in. And you can see there's our Sammy the cat.
Ha! So what? You can't touch me, because I'm from the internet.
We probably want to modify that facial animation a little bit, but you can see the facial expressions. We can do facial puppeting like this. Got a nice grin like that. And there's Sammy the cat, all sad. So this model is a 3D model available from the content store or the marketplace. Okay, and let's see, where are we here? Where did my questions panel go? Okay, so yeah, definitely you can animate dogs or cats. So Tom asks, what sort of app can you use with the iClone output? So if you want to export stuff from iClone, you need to have the pipeline version of 3D Exchange. And that allows you to export into FBX or OBJ or SKP or BVH format, a number of different formats. You can use it in 3ds Max, Maya, or anything like that. I personally quite often in game design, I use Unreal Engine or Unity, and I export iClone assets and content from iClone to Unity and Unreal fairly often using FBX format. So hopefully that answers your question there. Make sure you have the pipeline version of 3D Exchange. It's not the cheap version, I'll tell you that much. Okay, so Christopher asks, I I noticed that the face changes a lot when I export 3D heads from CT8 into iClone. Yeah, Christopher, this is it's kind of a known issue, and it has to do slightly different shaders in iClone and CrazyTalk 8. So and also different lighting and everything like that. CrazyTalk 8 just has your standard lighting, and iClone will have a different lighting and shader setup and everything. So the characters will look fairly basic in CrazyTalk 8, but honestly, I'd recommend exporting everything to iClone because you get more detailed textures and you have more freedom options with how to customize your character's skin. So that is a known issue, unfortunately. We're working on trying to get that more consistent. But for now, some characters may exhibit slightly different views or slightly different appearances when they are imported into iClone from CrazyTalk 8. Okay, so question from Gloria: how to blend facial and body complexion better if the character is African American? Hopefully, I answered that question with showing the how to change the color of the body and the face textures there in iClone. Now, if you're talking about in CrazyTalk 8, we don't have much for the body in CrazyTalk 8. If I let me just minimize my questions panel here. You can also go in here to material settings for your character, and there's a skin and body and skin and head section. So similar to what you have in iClone, if I change the skin body brightness, or just let's take that, because this character is kind of a weird example to be using. Let's change the hue maybe to if we wanted to have a blue cat, for example, we'll change that to -100, and same thing with the head. We'll change the head hue to like -100. So it's not African American, but maybe it's the cat from Pluto or something like that with a blue color of skin. So you need to do that. You need to go into material or texture settings up here and change the brightness, hue, contrast, saturation for both the head and the body sections. Okay, so we have a frozen cat here on the screen. All right, next question. Hopefully that answered that question for you there, Gloria, I believe it was. Yeah. Okay, so Dwayne, will you come up with a hair package based on cultural backgrounds such as Jamaican braids, etc.? Yeah, we get tons and tons and tons of questions about, we need this ethnicity's hair or this ethnicity's clothing and everything like that. We do have a art team that's hard at work on creating new content all the time. And we do have also developers that are creating that kind of stuff in the marketplace and the content store as well. As far as different hairstyles go, I definitely do agree. We definitely need a lot more, stuff like Jamaican braids and everything like that. It'd be really cool, but we haven't gotten to that point yet. But that is something that'll hopefully be available in the future. You just have to keep checking back in the content store in the marketplace. I'm not the content store manager, so I can't really give you a timeline on that. But you can always make your own as well. It's a little bit more complicated, but we do have the white papers on that. And if you have any questions about how to make your own hair, feel free to email me, kai@reallusion.com. Again, that's kai@reallusion.com. So Gloria asks, how can you import hair from a photo to an avatar? Unfortunately, it's not that easy to create hair. Hair is a lot more complex than the 3D heads that we're creating here. So you need to create your own. You have to basically model your own custom hair in a program, like I said, Blender or 3ds Max or Maya. And then if you want to apply physics to that hair, you have to create a weight map for it, and it's fairly tricky. And also add the textures and everything like that. But we do have a white paper that talks a little bit about how to do that as well. Okay, so someone asked about, or Jonathan asks about CrazyTalk Animator 3. CrazyTalk Animator 3 will be released in the very, very near future here. I'm actually going to be starting tutorials on that within a month, I believe. No promises on that, but for those of you who are looking to expand on CrazyTalk 8, CrazyTalk Animator is an excellent option, and CrazyTalk Animator 3 includes a lot of awesome, awesome new features. You can find those on our website. Find a little bit of a preview on the website. Not even in the content store, just go to the regular page here. And I'm just going to dock this for a sec. right here. So CrazyTalk Animator 3 available for pre-sale, and you can see all the kind of cool stuff that you can do with it, stretching, and you can add bones to your characters, so you can manipulate them that way, and all sorts of other fun stuff. Check it out on your own time. And let's go to the next question here. We have a few more to get through, and then we're going to end off this webinar here. Okay, I believe I answered those. Okay, so will there be an iClone 6 for Mac? Wallace asked. We get asked, inevitably we always get asked every webinar about iClone 6 for Mac. Unfortunately, I can't provide any solid info on that. Most people, what they use for Mac right now is just Boot Camp. They use iClone and Boot Camp. We do have a lot of users who are using iClone on Mac. They just load it up in Boot Camp. So you know, that's another option for you. But we do not have a dedicated iClone for Mac, unfortunately. All right, so Matt mentions, I like the interactive plugin tutorials for CrazyTalk 7. Well, thanks, Matt. I'm glad you like those tutorials. We are here to please and here to teach. So Matt also asks, how can I download it, and will it be available for CrazyTalk 8? Unfortunately, the interactive plugin will not be available for CrazyTalk 8 at the moment. We don't have any plans for it. We're kind of tricky with our production right now. Kind of trying to focus on iClone 6 right now, so I'm not really sure about interactive plugin. I can't really comment on that at the moment. Daniel mentions bones are not necessary. In CrazyTalk 8, bones are definitely not necessary, but in iClone we have character bones for sure. Just like most other 3D animation programs, your characters need to have bones. Okay, so one question from Victoria. I can't find how to render animation from CrazyTalk with alpha background. Oh, okay, so just rendering out the background. Okay, so like a transparent background. Geez, I haven't done this in such a long time. Obviously, we'd want to change our background, change the background color to like green, and you can you know, chroma key it out that way if you change the background color to a bright green, or when you render. Let's see, in the video image, I believe if you render an MOV, it'll have an alpha layer as well. I do believe so. I'm pretty sure if you render an MOV like a QuickTime format, it'll come with a alpha channel as well. So try rendering with the MOV, and if that doesn't work, I guess I'm a liar, but it does work with iClone. So try that. Most other formats won't work with that, but I believe MOV will. And for images, you'll want to choose PNG for sure, and try to make sure that you don't have a background in that case. All right, so hopefully that answers your questions. PNG for images, MOV for videos. Should contain a transparent alpha data as well. Questions. Okay. All right, last question. James asks, so if you just bought CrazyTalk Animator 2 and you're ready for 3, if you're looking to upgrade, we do have special upgrade prices for those of you who already have a CrazyTalk Animator 2. Email sales@reallusion.com. That's sales, hopefully you know how to spell sales, at reallusion.com, S-A-L-E-S, at reallusion.com, and they'll get in touch with you about upgrade deals and stuff like that. Or you can also just check out the website as well. I believe if you log into your account and you're about to purchase something from the website, it'll show you the upgrade price anyways. You can also email sales@reallusion.com with any sales question. Okay, one last question from Chris before we end off here. Christopher, face filter for CTator iClone. Face filter is a totally separate program, basically used just for kind of beautification of your images and stuff like that. So I mean, you can use it on the basic image, and once you save that image out of face filter, you can use it in CrazyTalk 8. But it's not. There's no direct pipeline between all that software. All right, guys, we're going to end off since we're a little bit about 15 minutes over time here. So again, any questions? Email me Kai@reallusion.com, And make sure you fill out the survey as well. You'll get a $10 gift certificate from the content store, and you can purchase whatever your heart desires. And yeah, make sure you check out our videos, our YouTube channel as well. I have a lot of tutorial videos I put on there, and hopefully those will help you in your journey to becoming a pro animator for CrazyTalk 8 or iClone or what have you. And yes, that's about it. So I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks for attending the webinar, and we'll see you in the next video.